Hello, Team Brandy. Welcome to today's Tuesday for the 12th. The last 8 days have been quite intense for me personally. Some of you may have had the opportunity to see last week's Tuesday for the 12th. I also had a moment Saturday morning and I recorded a Facebook Live that's on the Facebook page and also recently added to Instagram TV for your viewing pleasure. Right now I come to you outside of the Edward Brooke Courthouse, and usually when I do my Tuesdays for the 12th, I try to be somewhere in the 12th, and folks may be thinking, well, Brandy, that courthouse is downtown. It's not symbolic of the 12th, but in so many ways it is. I actually just wrapped up the press rally, the press conference that was held with the Black and Latino elected officials that we have throughout the entire Commonwealth, from the eastern part to the western part of the state, to hear their thoughts and ideas, and even some who shared their personal stories. And they were also joined by many allies, I should say several allies in the work. And I had my mom with me because I was actually supposed to help her with some things today, but rearranged the day in order to be present for that event. And as the elected officials were sharing their stories and their policy ideas, some of which I had already been contemplating myself, and I'll get to that in a minute, I was thinking, wow, I should film this Tuesdays for the 12th at the Edward Brooke Courthouse. For those who don't know, the Edward Brooke Courthouse is one of the two courthouses where I got my start as a public defender with CPCS. And the reason why it's symbolic of the 12th is because when we think about Suffolk County, it's Boston, Revere, Chelsea, and I think Everett. I could be misspeaking on that point. But overwhelmingly the cases come from Suffolk County, and they come from Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. And so while this physical building may not be directly in the 12th Suffolk District, the lives that are impacted by what happens inside the building and behind these walls certainly are impacted on a daily basis. We all know that the moment someone has an interaction with law enforcement, it actually sets them on a trajectory to have more encounters with law enforcement. That's why I remain supportive of and stand by District Attorney Rollins in terms of her platform that she ran on, and that she and her team are working tirelessly to make a reality, and that those lower level crimes are not necessarily prosecuted. Having served as foreperson of the Suffolk County Grand Jury, I can tell you from my own eyes that there are disparities in even the charges that are brought for literally the exact same crime and the exact same MO. By MO, I mean the way that a black accused committed the crime compared to a white accused committed the crime, and they have different level of charges. Work has to be done to really eradicate our systems of the racial inequity that we see day in and day out. I truly believe, and if elected as state representative, will advocate for a citizens committee that is truly made up of civilians who will have real authority and power to evaluate and investigate offenses of law enforcement, and make sure that if there's any conduct that's not above board, that there's also retribution for that. When we think about the officer involved in the George Floyd shooting, 19 infractions he had in his record of brutality and shootings, that is 19 too many. We know, and I believe DA Rollins said this earlier today, that if you work at Sephora and you have 3 infractions, you no longer have your job. If you work at Market Basket and have 19 infractions, you don't have your job, and we have to have some public accountability. I want to be very clear. Every police officer is not bad. There are so many wonderful men and women on the force who are doing their job, who are making sure they approach this work with the lens of equity. And we do know that there are some members of the force, because we're all human, so there are flawed folks amongst us no matter where we go, who are not upholding their end of the bargain and the duty that comes along with both the badge and the gun. And so I come to you today in front of this Edward Brooke Courthouse that has seen the lives of so many people. I let you know that as someone who has fought tirelessly to defend the civil rights of the accused right here in Massachusetts, and as someone who, while serving a grand jury, really ensured that the state carried its burden of proof before making any indictment that would involve someone for the first time or further into the criminal justice system, that I will fight tirelessly for this issue, for its ramifications and its impact truly reverberate throughout every single facet of our life. I actually originally intended to talk to you today about economic opportunity and justice, and just with all the events and everything that's happening, criminal justice is back again as a topic worthy and in need of discussion. And the truth of the matter is, once someone has that infraction on their record, or multiple infractions on their record, it does impact their economic and life opportunities as it relates to business loans, future job employment, etc. I also want to speak a little bit about, I shared during the campaign kickoff how I have family members and a neighbor who have been convicted of serious crimes, who have done their time, who have had successful reentry into society, proper rehabilitation, if you will. And over again, the need for family support is critical. I have visited loved ones in jail. I have visited clients in jail, and also Bridgewater State mental health facilities too. And it is a process, particularly if you're not credentialed as an attorney. It is a process in terms of what you can bring, what you can't bring, and really limiting that contact that will give those who might be serving time the stability, support, and community they need. The prices, the commissary accounts, the prices for phone calls in and out of jail are so sky high and exorbitant, and we already know that these are people overwhelmingly who are coming from communities who might not have as strong of a financial background. There are things that we can do that are humane and just, while people who have been convicted of crimes are serving their time. There are things that we can do to ensure that law enforcement is upholding its end of the bargain and really driving forward its duty to protect, serve, and have positive community interactions and relations. That's all I have for today's Tuesday for the 12th. There will be more to come on my criminal justice platform. It has taken me a while because there's just so many things that could be done and should be done, but I'll be sure to release that soon. And as always, I thank you so much for your support and for taking the time to watch. I hope you have a great day.